The Honourable Jeremy Buckingham.
Lose, you lose, Damien. Thank you, Madam Deputy President. I am neither a constitutional lawyer, demographer or economist, but as I say, I'm prepared to have a go. I just start by rebutting what the Honourable John Ruddock has said regarding the economic powerhouse of the colonies. In actual fact, it was Van Diemen's Land. Without Van Diemen's Land, back then, New South Wales would have starved. It was just a gulag. It was actually the Tasmanians that propped up New South Wales up until they got past to the west of the Great Dividing Range, and that is going to be the central premise of my contribution here. And also, in actual fact, Joseph Banks selected New South Wales as a good place as a colony because of its suitability to grow hemp for refitting their naval fleets in the South Pacific. But my contribution in terms of economic development is to rely on the words of Banjo Patterson, and that is, I see a vision splendid of sunlit plains extended. Australia's great competitive advantage in terms of economic development is its space, its land. It's an incredible mineral, biological and geographic wealth, and the cost that are facing the economy are running up against is the cost of land. The cost of land in this state. The fact that all of our economic development is happening in one basin, the Sydney Basin, notwithstanding the fact that we are seeing like a lot of growth up in the Hunter Valley, but in New South Wales, the price of industrial land, the price of residential land is going through the roof. So, you know, materials, it's harder for us to control. The production of materials are part of a global economy, but the production of land, well, it's here. And we could quite easily lower the cost of development, lower the cost of economic development in this state, increase productivity, free up capital for those people who want to build and invest in this state to do things like training, research and development, and uplift productivity. They've got more capital to do that if the cost of getting their ideas, their house off the ground is lowered because we have cheaper land. And I completely concur with the Honourable John Ruddock when it comes to red tape around our incredibly burdensome planning system. We need to make it easier for people to do the things they want to do when it comes to planning, and residential property development is a key one. It should not take decades for a property developer to get a residential property proposal up out of the ground, and I understand that there's, you know, this state has been infected by NIMBYism for far too long, and one of the great costs that we're seeing with the cost of housing, the cost of housing is actually a war on population. It's a war on families. It's a war on our next generations and actually our birth rate. We're seeing that of our housing, 20 million households are families, and if you can't afford a house, you can't start a family, you don't have children, and so it's actually having a quite catastrophic impact on our fertility rates. Our fertility rate now last year, according to the ABS, was down to 1.5 births per woman, down from 1.88 in 2013. Last year in New South Wales, it dropped by another 3%. And that is due to housing. If you want to have a family, you start off as in a partnership, you go out and buy a house. And the place that we could open up in this state, more than any other, we've run up into the Hawkesbury. We've got properties all the way down halfway to Goulburn. We've got the second Sydney airport out there in Western Sydney, consuming a lot of land. the price of land out there is through the roof, because that land is basically earmarked for property development. The place to open up is Western New South Wales. That is the place. We could build a rail and road tunnel through the Blue Mountains. It's 30 or 40 kilometres from Penrith or Richmond out to Lithgow, and provide cheap land for people with subsidies or concessions in terms of stamp duty for industrial development, research, education and residential development out there. And a lot of people, they've just got a geographic block because Lithgow is closer to Penrith than we are now. Lithgow is closer to that second Sydney airport than we are now. Most of the people in Sydney are going to live closer to Lithgow than we are to them in 30 to 40 years. The development out at Riverstone, the development out at Camden, that is going to be huge. Where are their children going to live? Are they going to live in Goulburn, 200 kilometres away? Are they going to live in Maitland? Or can they live at the end of a road and rail tunnel in Lithgow, which is a half-an-hour drive away? It was a massive mistake of the state government to put the Blue Mountains tunnel on pause, to mothball it. You know, the Whitlam government 2 generations ago had the vision of the Bathurst Orange Development Corporation. It's a region that has, as Banjo Patterson said, sunlit plains extended, cheap land, and that is something we could deal with in this state. Provide cheap land, fast development, lower fees, lower stamp duty for those people who want to set up businesses in Western New South Wales, in that Lithgow, Bathurst area. It's got the water, it's got the space, it's got the people, it's got the infrastructure. If we put the transport infrastructure there, it's got the power stations, it's going to have solar and wind and all the rest of it. It's got emerging universities. It's the perfect place for us to grow and grow our community and enable people to come in and lift productivity, economic development, because it's cheaper to do business, to take advantage of our natural advantage, which is this gigantic continent. If you look at the ABS data, there's some surprising data around population. All of the councils around, or almost all of the councils around the harbour, have got declining population. Canada Bay has a declining population. Mossman, a declining population. And the other places that have a declining population is Western New South Wales. A third of the geographic area of New South Wales has a declining population. Apart from Bathurst, Orange and Dubbo, pretty much the rest of the central west and far west of New South Wales has a declining population. Yet it's where our mineral wealth is. It's where our agricultural wealth is. It's where we could uplift our economy, vertically integrate a lot of these industries, get other industries up and going. There's this economic development going on out there in terms of the reses and the rest, but we're not seeing that population that population grow. And so I believe that we could open up Crown land, open up tracts of land in that area around the Lithgow, Mudgee, Bathurst area, if we invested in the transport infrastructure, and people would go there in droves. It is an incredibly beautiful place to live. Great communities, always been welcoming of migrant communities. They're very, very diverse communities. They've been screaming out for opportunities beyond mining. When we look at places like Lithgow, in economic recession, these are the places we should look at, and the competitive advantage we have is our land, and the cost for businesses, for people who want to build homes, build industries, can be reduced if we have a government that says, well, let's make it cheaper for people to get these things off the ground by providing cheap land, providing, as I say, exemptions from stamp duty, special economic development and fast-tracking approvals, because Western Sydney, it's full. If you look at the development in that northwest and southwest Sydney area, it is absolutely chock-a-block. It's already earmarked, already rezoned, and it's going to be absolutely gigantic. The place for us to grow as a state and as a nation, because people are going to continue to come into New South Wales, is Western New South Wales. We need to build that tunnel and open up those sunlit plains extended.
Acting President.
The Honourable Damien Dugan.